Alright, so we're going to talk about Cav today, and we're going to rank them from OP all the way to not worth the barrack slot. So I have all the Cav here as cards that we will put into the various slots for the way we rank them. So I will be doing this with the chat. I will take all of your opinions and information that you provide me, and we will base that and my opinions together to give them a ranking. So let's just jump into it, as I always like to say. We're going to start with Armiger Lancers. They should be alphabetical. So Armiger Lancers is by far one of the strongest cav I've gotten to play lately. I actually prefer using them over Liaos because they're cheaper. They have 3 abilities. Let's go ahead and show them. They are definitely a solid ass unit. They're the only T4 cav I'll use. Compared to Yeomen, they are by far way better than what we thought they would be. I definitely think OP-A-ish, but we will go ahead and take a look at them in-game. Let's take a look at them in-game really quick. I need to fix them up. Alright, so doctrine-wise, you don't need to do too much. You do get this doctrine, the Armiger Lancer Weapon Doctrine. Increases normal attack damage by 5%, not bad. And then you also get the reduces gallop cooldown by 4 seconds. Not huge, but looking at their stats, I did go top line for these guys because the healing's not that impressive, but they definitely do a lot of damage with their charges. Let's see here. Now, health-wise, they're at 11k per unit. Damage isn't bad. Their piercing damage is pretty high. Their piercing damage is pretty good. I should have said pen. And then their defense isn't horrible. For T4, this isn't bad. Plus they're cav, so... let's see here. There's 18 of them. What's their leadership? They are 240 on leadership. So compared to others like Khvevtuul, which is 245, Sipahis are 260. So they're cheaper than Sipahis. I definitely think they beat Sipahis too. So they're like the next upgrade for like charge cav compared to Coutiliers and Selemchids. Now I use them a lot because they have a lot of potential. Because you can charge through and then you can do cover commander to bring them back. And their cover commander is pretty broken. They are really good flank cav, but they can go from front side and then flank from behind after the charge. So like they can charge through, you can do cover commander to bring them back. You can also, once they start turning around, you can use gallop to have them come back faster. So they have a lot of utilities. They have a lot of abilities, which is pretty awesome. Now, with that said, where do we place these guys? I definitely think they're one of the best cav in the game right now. They haven't been nerfed or anything like that, so I'm kind of curious on where we want to place them. I definitely think they're A+, but are they actually overpowered? Do you think for a T4 they're overpowered, or do you think... There's no way I'm putting Armigers B or lower. If you think they're B or lower, I think it's because people don't play them enough and understand how to use them. They are by far one of the strongest cav. By far one of the strongest cav. Just because of their utilities, and their cover commander is so strong. What they did to Armiger Lancers is what they should have did to Cataphracts. Like, they by far are like a good Cataphract. Like, for a T4, they literally make Cataphracts look like nothing. That's what's crazy about it. For T4 OP, but compared to T5, well, they're not a T5. They're a T4. Compared to all T4s, they're pretty strong. The next one coming up would be like Sipahis. Prefecture Heavy Cav aren't bad, but they have really good charge potential over Prefecture Heavy Cav. So that's another big thing. So for T4, I definitely think they're OP for a T4 because they're almost like a T5 Cav in my opinion. But they can't, one thing they can't do very well is fight stalwarts. They will die to stalwarts. They can also maneuver around Imperial Pike walks. Like if you charge and then you use cover commander, they might get enough to actually get out of it, but usually they don't. So they can't quite counter Impike walks. Of course, Fortebracios jack them up. So that there's no really huge advantage there. But using them against any type of infantry, they dominate. They're really good at getting at range units too. So I'm gonna put them at A. I'm gonna put them at A. I think they're OP for what they can do. Like if you play them a lot, you'll know what I'm talking about when you can get 100+ unit kills because of just having an advantage on a charge, and then you can use your cover commander. They're pretty devastating. They're a lot like Kheshigs in the sense that they can charge through a bunch of stuff except for stalwarts. Like they're the new Kheshigs in my opinion. Except Rangers, let's see here. So I will put them at an A+. They're almost overpowered, but not quite. I think for a T4 they're overpowered, but not. They're pretty easily countered. They can be countered pretty easily if you play right. Now let's talk about Cataphract Lancers. Does anyone use them? Has anyone been using them since Armiger Lancers came out? I don't think so. I don't even think they're worth the barrack slot right now. Can we all just agree on that? Does anyone use them? Yeah, I don't think they're worth. I still don't have them, and I don't see anyone using them. Yeah, they're not worth. Let's just keep moving along. So let's talk about Coutiliers. Coutiliers is a T2 cav. Let's just go ahead and take a look at them. Coutiliers are a T2 cav that actually have a really good charge. They get a 20% increase on their charge damage. Oh, are you kidding me? Coutiliers? A C? Are you guys nuts? Have you guys ever used Coutiliers before? No way. You guys think they're a C for a T2 cav? Like they can do a fair amount of damage. I'm about to show you their stats. Do you guys use them? No, no way. What? Do you guys play cav at all? I'm going to show you guys your stats really quick. Now, maxed out Coutiliers. You go top line for Coutiliers because you want the 22% extra charge damage. Now, getting this charge damage is huge. Look at their damage. Piercing armor pen is 1.3k. Piercing damage is 724. So you do want to increase their piercing damage a bit, but that increase on charge damage is huge. It's 22%. And it's multiplied by the speed. And also right here, each level increases charge damage. So you get another 14% here. So you're getting, was that 36% increase there. You get crit value there. Their cooldowns are pretty low. They get a wedge formation. And honestly, what's great about Coutiliers, they're great for learning cav. Like anyone that's new to the game and want to learn how to use cav, Coutiliers is by far the best cav to learn because you can learn charges. They have a very good cooldown. They will kill infantry and range. They are not just range killers. I mean, if you're talking about just range killers, you're talking more like Dagger-Axe at that point. For a T2, I'd have to say they're about a C or B. I would say they're like a B-. For a T2, they're actually really good. They can definitely kill infantry. Let's go ahead and take a look at the list. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in B because Coutiliers are awesome. I don't think people play them enough. I think more people should play Coutiliers. They're cheap cav that can run over all infantry except for stalwarts and pikes. So instead of using Armigers and you want to bait, walks and stuff, use Coutiliers. You can bait a walk with Coutiliers very quick. You can make them look like Armigers. So that brings them up a bit too. So that's where I'm at with Coutiliers right now. Let's talk about Dagger-Axe Lancers. I honestly don't use Dagger-Axe Lancers. They're more known for killing range, but I have seen them used here and there. But I don't see them used over Armiger Lancers. I don't know how good their charge is. So that's something we need to consider. Are they even worth getting? Should we even get Dagger-Axe at this point? I mean, why would you bring Dagger-Axe over Armigers is the question. I don't even think they're worth right now. I don't think they're worth either. All right, so let's just move on. So the next one is Fire Lancers. So Fire Lancers, obviously Fire Lancers upgrade into Liaos. Now, Liaos are they are way better than Fire Lancers. Like, let's be honest. Fire Lancers are decent T5s, but Liaos definitely show them a whole other side of how strong Fire Lancers can be. So, are they still worth using? Like, wouldn't you just bring Liaos Rangers instead? Is there any reason to keep Fire Lancers over Liaos is the question. Like, is there any reason not to promote into Liaos? I can put them at D because I see them used sometimes because obviously you want to level them up for Liaos, but I mean, they're not really worth the barrack slot when you have Liaos Rangers, but they are worth if you want to learn how to use Rangers a little bit before you get them. Maybe use Fire Lancers for a bit. I'll put them at D. That's fair. I'll put them at D for right now because I do see some people still use them, which I don't. It's probably because they don't have Liaos Rangers yet. So let's jump into Ironcap Bowriders. Ironcap Bowriders they're not bad, but they're really hard to use. They're very squishy units. They are a ranged cav. I have seen people use them. They don't do much. Again, they are a T2 cav. You can't expect too much of them. They're definitely not as good as like Coutiliers. Coutiliers could run up to these guys and kill them. So I don't know if they're worth. Yeah, I don't think they're worth the slot, to be honest with you. So Ironcap Scout Cavalry. Now, I've heard good things about Ironcap Scout Cavalry. They say that they're actually really good at running up and killing infantry and ranged. So, I mean, is that something to consider? They're not horrible. Let's see how much they cost. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much they cost. I don't have them, so we're gonna have to look at the tree really quick. Now, oh, I do have them. Never mind, I lied. So let's see what they get. View details. So they get Swift. This unit is able to move quickly. Okay, congrats. You're Cav. You should be able to move quickly. They have R8 slashing damage, and their slashing armor pen's kind of low though. They get 2 formations here, dispersed and line. Their defense is very low. Now let's look at what you get here. So they have like a lot of charge stuff on the top line. Now the bottom line is like field damage, more soldiers, increases movement speed. So I mean, I don't see their charge being better than Coutiliers. But you do use them for a charge in their melee. So are they even worth it? Yeah, they're not as good as Coutiliers for sure. I agree on that. So with that said, what do we see, like a D? I don't see them at D. I see them at like a D. They're not bad for learning how to use melee cav. That's for sure. So I'm putting them right at D for right now. All right, guys, let's talk about Kheshigs. Now, Kheshigs in season 3 and 4, they were super strong, super strong. When did they get their nerf? Was it season 6 or season 5? One or the other. I think they got nerfed in season 6. When they were at their strong point, before their nerf, they were the best cav in the game. They were overpowered. 100%, they were overpowered. I think they actually were ranked OP in the last list because of how strong they were in season 5. So season 6, they got nerfed. Their speed got decreased on their turnarounds, and then I believe their defenses got lowered a little bit. Yeah, so people don't really use Kheshigs anymore because why wouldn't you just bring Liaos Rangers? Because Liaos Rangers does a lot of stuff pretty good to kill units. Kheshigs died to stalwarts. They died to almost anything at this point because they're pretty squishy T5. But they're actually still really good at killing heroes. They still have a ton of penetration to kill heroes. So they do have that. Like, I mean, if you charge Kheshigs onto a point full of, heroes, I mean, if they're all mauls, you know, the mauls probably will kill them, but there is potential that they would get a bunch of hero kills. So for their hero killing potential, I think they deserve a C. I wouldn't put them much higher than that. Their nerf brought them down big time. So they're coming, I think my last rankings, they were OP. They're brought all the way back down to C because they've been replaced by a lot of cav. It's just I don't see them in B or A. They're just too squishy for it. They're really good cav for the fact of killing heroes. They can still kill infantry, but Stalwarts is the #1 infantry right now, and they 100% counter Kheshigs. So no one's using Kheshigs. So they're not within the meta, but they are still decent cav, so I'll put them in C. Let's talk about Khvevtuul Cavalry. Now, Khvevtuuls aren't bad. They do have hero kill potential, but they're actually not super squishy either. Let's take a look at their stats just to verify a few things. Now, in here, looking at, I have them. Let's see here. So, looking at their stats, well, they're not leveled up all the way yet. Let's see here. Rate of attack, increases accuracy, rate of attack. Some cooldowns here. Increases damage out the infantry, so they're definitely anti-infantry. So, like, the way you would use Khvevtuuls is against, like, pikes or something. If you're trying to, like, kite pikes around, you can deal with Khvevtuuls, or you can use Rattan Rangers. With the Rattan Ranger nerf, Khvevtuuls kind of have a place because I feel like they have a little more range than I'd have to look at their range. So 52 on Khvevtuuls. What is it on Rangers? Oh no, they have less range. So I lied. So Rangers have more range, but also I don't have them maxed out yet. Their range might increase with level. I don't know 100%. And also some of this might actually increase range. I don't really. No, it increases accuracy. Armigers are not OP for you. I said they're OP, but everyone else disagreed with me, Agent. I think Armigers are OP, especially for T4 cav. They're OP for T4, but but they're not, all right. So you guys need to stop doing that comparison. I'll talk about that in a second. Let's go ahead and I think Khvevtuuls they're not really used because Rattan Rangers are just faster. They get around a little bit quicker. And for Khvevtuuls to activate their abilities, it's kind of a pain in the ass. I just think you're going to be bringing Rattan Rangers instead of Khvevtuuls. Let's look at the... what is their actual cost? I'm sorry, I meant to look at that. Their cost for... So these guys are 320. These guys are 245. So they're actually not too expensive, but they're more expensive than Armigers. Armigers are 240. I'm 100% bringing Armigers over Khvevtuuls. It just, when it comes to T4 cav, everyone's kind of behind when it comes to Armigers' abilities, big time. And they're the only, are they the only T4s that get to level 22? I think so. These guys max at 20. These guys max 18. And then Dagger-Axe max 20. So yeah, they do get the 2 more levels, so that gives them an advantage. All right, so I think Khvevtuuls are probably a D at this point. I don't think they're much higher than that because Rattan Rangers are just that much better. Like, or I mean, they're not that much better, but like if you're gonna bring range cav, you're bringing Rattan Rangers just for the rate of fire. Khvevtuuls have kill potential. But for a T4 cav, they're just too expensive for what they do. I'd rather bring nomcons instead of a cav that does it half-ass. You know what I mean? Like, if they made the shooting better on Khvevtuuls, I could see them moving up. Or like giving them a decent charge or something. But even then, they're kind of screwed because Stalwarts would just counter them. So they would need to increase the range abilities on Khvevtuuls to bring them up, in my opinion. So let's talk about Khorchins. Khorchins are cheap, like nomcon archers on cav is what they are. So I don't think they're really worth. The problem is like they gave all these buffs to range this season, but last season, even without the buffs to range, I'd rather still just bring normal Nomcon archers over Khorchins. Like, let's see how much Khorchins cost compared to Nomcons, and just go from there, because Khorchins are very squishy, so that's one thing. Let's look at the wait, what are they? They're season 5. I think they're season 2, right? I'd have to look at them. I don't have them unlocked. Maybe I'll just make them really quick so we can look at their stats. I think I have them right here. Just build them. All right, so just so we can look at them. Let me switch this, sorry. So really quick, on here, yeah, they have 4K health. Oh, their damage isn't that horrible. Piercing damage, 1.3K. And this is like all base damage, so that's not horrible. Their defense is pretty low though. Abilities, they have the bodkin arrows when switching to armor piercing shots. So they have the same thing that Imperial archers have, right? Bodkin arrows. And Bowriders focus on single target. So you can focus a target too. That's actually not bad. What's the kill potential with it? So the cost, let's go and look at the cost of it. So 170, which isn't that bad. So 170 for Khorchins, which I think Nomcons are 170 also? Oh, 180. So it actually is more expensive to bring Nomcons, but Nomcons get bleed compared to Khorchins, who actually get, let's see here. Do they get any type of, no, I don't think they get any type of bleed or anything. It kind of doesn't make them worth on that, but they're not bad. Like stat wise, like because of the bodkin arrows, like you can turn on bodkin arrows and then target someone. You can definitely get some kill potential there. All right, let's go ahead and I think they're about a C or a T3. I don't think they're bad. I would like to see more Khorchins. I would like to see more Khorchins just for the fact that they're just faster faster archers. That's pretty much what they are. You can use them to get around a little bit. You can avoid cav, and then you can target heroes with it. They're super squishy, but like if you can keep your range with them, I can see them doing some stuff. I think giving them having the mount capability gives them. I think it pulls them up from D to C because they have decent damage. I might have to mess with them a little bit. I might level them, see what they do. All right, guys, let's talk about Liaos Rangers. Now, Liaos Rangers last season were broken. In the beginning of the season, they weren't functioning correctly. They did not work, but then they did fix the issues they had with the devastation and like some of the charge potential they had. The blast wasn't working correctly. So the two like routes you can go, let's go ahead and pull them up because I'm gonna show you guys what to look at. Now when you're looking at this and then you get Liaos Rangers, you have two trees. Oh, they're expensive. They are expensive, by the way. T5, so you can go top for blast. Unlocks blast right here. The shots cover a large area, are relatively low in damage and accuracy, suitable against cav. So you can go anti-cav on top, or you can go bottom with devastation, which they have this powerful break and knockback effect. Now, devastation last season was crazy good, like super good. It was just as devastating as like a Kheshig charge back when stalwarts weren't around. Kheshigs could just run up on you, do a quick turnaround, and kill half your team. These guys have that same potential. And with that being said, I definitely think they're overpowered. They're definitely overpowered. This season, I feel like they got some kind of changes, but we're talking about season 6. So, with last season, how well they did with all the kill potential they had on heroes and units, even stalwarts, they were anti-stalwart units. They definitely deserve an OP. I 100% think they deserve OP. There's no way they're not getting OP. If you knew how to use their devastation, like if anyone was playing in high tier matches, everybody had Liaos. Everybody had Liaos. Is because they were overpowered. They could counter imp pikes though. Like they had the potential to counter imp pikes also with devastation. Like they had a lot. There was a lot they could do to try to get out of imp pike walks. So there was just a lot of things you're able to do. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna drop them in OP. I like none of you can say that you weren't killed by Liaos last season. Like if you didn't get killed by Liaos, it means you weren't playing in high tier matches, or you were a range class that never actually went on the ground. So everybody was getting killed by Liaos. Everybody and their mother. They would wipe teams entirely. You have 2 or 3 of them, they would wipe a team entirely in about 5 seconds. So that definitely gives them an OP status from last season. So let's go ahead and talk about Monastic Knights. I don't know where Monastic Knights are now. I haven't really used them. They're still a really good tanky cav, but do they have a place right now? They get stopped by everything. There's, like, you guys want to say B? Oh, if they get the charge? Okay. So they can beat Liaos. That's good to know. Because Monastics are super tanky. Let's take a look at them. Let's talk about, they're the tankiest cav there is. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I do have these bad boys maxed. So let's take a look at their unit traits and everything. All right, so health, they have 10k. But what they really do well is their armor. Their piercing, their slashing defense is 750, and then their blunt defense is 682, which is huge. It's huge. Their piercing armor pen is 2k. Yeah, their piercing damage is 1k, so they have great damage. The biggest issue with them, they only have a charge. Their biggest issue is they get stopped by almost any type of pike. They can get stopped by pike militia. So that brings them down a bit. Most other cav can run through pike militia. Monastic Knights cannot. Now, with that said, where do we see them? I see them around CB. I don't see them anywhere higher than that. You guys think B because of how tanky they are? They are very slow also. Very slow. I'm seeing a lot of Bs. I can agree with B. I like Monastics for how tanky they are. They're really good for points. You don't really use them for their charge. You use them to, like, you XV them. You XV them on top of stuff is what you do with Monastics. Honestly, their charge is almost like try to get them out of something. Because they can't get through stalwarts. They can't get through pike militia. They are the basis to what cav should be. Like, they can't do anything against anti-cav. They're easy to get early on. They are easy to get. They are an early cav to learn early on, but they are expensive. We do need to consider that. What is their cost really quick? I just want to see that really quick. Their cost, they're actually one of the most expensive. They're 330. Kheshigs are 325. Liaos are cheaper. So like would you ever? So are you saying you would bring Monastics over Liaos though? Is the question. For like a tanky cav that can do a lot of damage, wouldn't you just bring Liaos over Monastics? You guys don't think so? For like hero kill potential, for unit kill potential. I don't see myself using Monastics. They're too slow. I don't know. I'll give it a B, but I'm gonna put my opinion out there. I think they're a solid C. I don't see them. I honestly don't see them much higher than that, but I can give them a B just to make you guys happy. Just as long as everyone knows, I think they're a C, but I'm happy to give them a B because majority of you guys think they're B. I think they're a C plus maybe. They just don't do anything very well. Like, they're just tanky. They're just tanky cav, which can be dealt with any pike. If Khorchins are a C, then Monastics can't be C. No, well, but all right, so you can't look at it that way. You guys need to stop. Stop. We are ranking them to their tier, and then overall, like, you gotta rank them across, and then you rank up and down. You don't just jump to a T3 and be like, oh, there's no way. It's overall for their cost, for their utility, for their defense, for what they can do for their cost. Like 100%. Like you have to use the cost in your leadership builds. So that's a huge importance of this. Don't just say like, oh yeah, Khorchins are not as good as monastics. That's obvious. But for their cost, are they worth it? So just make sure you guys are looking at it that way. Don't be like, oh, Selemchids can't beat Kheshigs. Of course they shouldn't be in the same tier. That's not how to look at this, guys. You look at Selemchids against other T3s, and then you look at them versus T2s and T4s. You don't just automatically take a T3 and say, oh, that's not better than a T5. That's obvious, guys. Very obvious. We are ranking them overall within their tier, and then you look up and below what they're capable of doing better than some of the other units near their leadership costs. What? Monastics are the most expensive cav. They're the most expensive cav. You're telling me you're bringing monastics over Liaos, which I don't believe most of you. Like if you had Liaos, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be bringing monastics over Liaos. But that's my opinion. And just like how you're allowed to have your opinion. I'm not going to say you're not right, and I'm not going to say I'm wrong. And that's perfectly fine. So that's fine. I'll put them in B right now. I think they're a C. Let's go ahead and talk about prefectured heavy cav. Now, I don't really use these guys. I don't know if anyone has. I don't see them having any place right now with Armigers around. I have not seen these guys. I have not seen them. I don't know. Let's see how expensive they are. Now, looking at these guys, they're right here. How much are they? They're 260. That's actually not bad. They're only 260. Not horrible. Yeomen are 250. Dagger-Axe are 270. Wow, they really just went up here. Went 250, 260, 270. So there are some things you should try to get here. Let's see here. For the Fire Lancers, there's just this that adds to piercing damage, which isn't too huge. There are a lot of upgrades in unit nodes or honor nodes that you can go for them. I don't know if they're really worth it. But I would say, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, compared to Armigers, really quick, we have to compare them to Armigers because Armigers are T4s. Now, Armigers are worth what? 240. So, all right, guys. So why would you ever bring prefectured heavy cav over Armigers? So 240 versus 260. So there's honestly no point in bringing prefectured over Armigers. Like you have a better charge on Armigers. You have better utilities for the memes. I'm gonna have to say they're not worth right now. It kind of sucks because Armigers are so good. It really makes all T4 look like shit, like just garbage. Like it's very unfortunate. I do think they're overpowered, but a lot of you guys said they were A, so I'm gonna put them as an A+. But I feel like they're overpowered, especially for their cost. 240. They fit in most lineups. Like you can do a T5 cab, you can do a T. Yeah, all right, so you can do Liaos, you can do Armigers, and you can do Coutiliers for like 705 leadership or something like that. So you can do a full cav lineup, all decent cav. Pretty well, because they're all cheap. So let's go ahead and jump back. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put them not worth right now. It's kind of unfortunate. A lot of T4s are scoring lower because Armigers have set the bar so high now that now we want T4s to be as strong as Armigers. And that is on the development team to come out with new cab that will reach the standards of Armiger Lancers. Or worse, they can nerf them, which I hope they don't. I feel like Armiger Lancers are very balanced T4 cav. They're really good at utilities that they have, but they will die fairly easy. Like they're not super tanky. They're not monastics. So that's where I'm at with that. So let's go ahead and talk about Rattan Rangers. Now, Rattan Rangers got a nerf in what, season 3? It was a long time ago. And I'm gonna move them up so you can see it. But you can see. So Rattan Rangers used to be one of the most OP Cav back in the day, season 2, season 3, somewhere in there. Their crossbows would annihilate heroes. Like, they're great at hunting people down. No one could run from it. And they had great unit killing potential besides shields, but the problem with shields was they could just charge over shields. So like if you had hold on, got an itch. That was before stalwarts came out, and now stalwarts would completely annihilate them. Stalwarts were the answer for a lot of things that the infantry lovers wanted. They wanted to stop the cav meta, and they stopped a good portion of it because of stalwarts. That is 100% true. Also, the Imperial Pike Walk has been very strong for a very long time, and I don't think it's going anywhere. It's countermeasures to make sure Cavs stay in, keep their place. Instead of being super overpowered, there's something that counters it. Now, Rattan Rangers still have potential. They did have some bugs, like a few, like last season. I think it was last season. Rattan Rangers had a few bugs. But they fixed it. The crossbows fire a lot slower. They do a lot less penetration, so they can still kill stuff, but much slower. I would have to say they're about a C, about a B. For a range cav, they are the best. Obviously, the T5 range cav, they are the best. But Khvevtuuls aren't too far behind them. I would say they're about a C. Yeah, range cav really don't have a place now. Like, I'm still talking on season 6, not season 7. I honestly think they're a C, like a solid C. Their crossbows are just so slow now. I wish they were a little faster. There are some doctrines coming out that might make them stronger, but they really have to rely on those. Really have to rely on all the different epic doctrines that are coming out now. All right, let's move on to Selemchids. Selemchids are actually really good T3 cav. I bet you a lot of people don't use them because they're a season 2 unit, but they have what, a 15-second charge? Like, they have a really low cooldown charge, and they have really good penetration. Like, they can kill heroes pretty well. Now, let's take a look at them, because I used to love using these guys in season 2, season 3. They were really strong. Let's go ahead and take a look. There you are. So right in here, I have these bad boys. I still use them here and there. They fit into a lot of lineups because they're not too expensive. They're 170 leadership. Now, looking at their veterancy, when you're using these guys, you want the damage. Like, you could try to go for survivability, but they're not going to survive. They're too squishy. So what you go for is very high damage, and they're a glass cannon cav. Like, you just charge them in and hope for some hero kills, and they're very fast. By far, I think they're probably one of the fastest units for sure. Now, right here, the slashing armor pen right here is actually pretty good. 1.4k. Their piercing and slashing defense is around 250. It's not great, but they're very quick, so they can avoid a lot of damage, and then you can use them for a really good flank. They can kill infantry pretty well. They don't get through stalwarts. They don't get through any pikes. But when you can get those flanks with these guys, because they're so fast, you can be pretty devastating. For 170 leadership, definitely worth. I would put them around a B. Yeah, I definitely would put them around a B. I feel like a lot of people don't know this about them because they don't play them, but Selemchids are actually, their charge is pretty strong. They are Kheshigs without all the extra hero killing potential. They do have hero killing potential, but not as much as Kheshigs. Not as much as Kheshigs, but they're like they're baby Kheshigs. They don't have a return or anything, but they're baby Kheshigs. Oh, nice. So let's go ahead and I definitely think they're a solid B unit. They're actually one of my favorite cav. They were one of my first cav too. Let's go ahead and talk about Sipahis. Now, not many people are using them, but they can get out of Imperial Pike Walks with their stomp. They can get out of Imperial Pike Walks with their stomp. Their charge isn't really impressive. I now realize there's only, yeah, there are only two T3 Cav. Now, Sipahis did have a place for a little bit, but not really. Like, they never really became part of the meta. They're kind of slow. They're like this heavy, mace-like unit. They have a cool stomp that gets them out of Imperial Pikes, but they don't do enough damage. They need more damage. Yeah, they're kind of like baby Liaos in a way because of their potential with like around pikes. They're not really good though. I would have to put them around the C. I think that's an easy call. They're not really used. Feel free to use them. Let me know if you find better ways to work them, but there's no way I put them anywhere near Armiger Lancers. Armiger Lancers are just so good. Again, the bar is set really high because of Armigers. That's just where Cav is right now. Let's go ahead and move on to Wing Hussars. Wing Hussars are my favorite Cav. Wing Hussars counter stalwarts 100%. They were huge last season because of Liaos being broken for a bit, where their devastation and all that stuff wasn't working correctly. And then, so Wing Hussars last season was the most used Cav, 100%. I wish we could get statistics for what units people are using the most during territory wars. That would be a really cool thing for my games to do. Like, this is the most used units in territory wars. Oh, so maybe we should be using those units. You know, like, they could be helping us, but never mind. Now, Wing Hussars are definitely the best Lance Cav. I do have a YouTube video on how to use them correctly, how to charge with them correctly. Check it out. Are they as good as... I think they're as good as Rangers. I think they're still pretty OP. Well, 40s. They can't... Again, 40s are the ultimate counter also, but 40s, you have to make sure they're placed. If they're not placed, they get ran over. They have to be braced. The thing with IPGs, you can just walk. Like, they can be charging into you and you just walk any direction. The issue with Fortebracios is you got to turn them around, and then they take like a second or two to actually brace. So you could catch them off guard. Definitely could catch them off guard. So with that said, I definitely think they're an A to OP. I don't think they're OP anymore. Or the fact that all infantry got a lot of health, but we're still talking about Season 6. They were pretty OP in Season 6. They were pretty OP in Season 6. People aren't using Wing Hussars as much right now because Liaos are just more fun. You can hit one button and your unit runs up and destroys a bunch of stuff. Wing Hussars take a little more practice. I think because of how difficult it is to land a really good charge with Hussars, I feel like people don't know how to group up Hussars for a very good charge. It makes it harder. There's a skill ceiling there. I think they're A+. Hussars are definitely the most used Cav in TW, 100%. 100%. And it's because of their lance potential. Them countering stalwarts, though, is huge. That kind of puts them in the OP category. And they are cheaper also. Oh my god, who said B? Come on now. You're out of your mind. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So looking at Hussars, what's their cost right now? 320. 320. So they're cheaper than Liaos, so that's huge. They're 5 leadership cheaper. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, they're by far one of my favorites. Like, they're just beautiful. They're beautiful creatures. I want to say OP, but we need to be honest. I think they're an A. But they do counter Laos though. They can counter Laos, they counter monastics, they counter cav, they counter infantry, and they could counter range. And I think because of that, they might be OP. They can counter every single type. I think they're overpowered for that. The only thing that kind of brings them down is their charge cooldown, but there's some good charge cooldowns now. I would have to say they're overpowered because of their potential, like across the board. Because Laos can still fairly easily get killed by stalwarts, but wing hussars will just run them straight over. The only thing that will stop them would be impikes and fortebraccios. There's only 2 real counters to this guy. There's about 3 to these guys. And the unstoppable charge is kind of iffy, but it still sort of works. Even for a squishy unit, they still do very well. I think they're overpowered. Just because of everything that they can counter. They're huge. The reason why they're so popular in TWs is they counter so much, and their charges are devastating. Yeah, that's my official decision on wing hussars. Let's talk about Yeomen. All right, guys, we're done. Yeomen have no place on this board. No place. Yeomen are 100% not worth the barrack slot. You 100% use Armiger Lancers over them. Sorry. This is what I did. Can I? Oh, I can't take it off now. But I just literally just threw them right into not worth the barrack slot because obviously you're using Armiger Lancers over Yeomen. Yeomen do not have a place in the cav world, unfortunately. So that is our list, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and I will make a YouTube video out of this, so you can always check back and look at what we were talking about, all the points we made. I do want to thank you guys for helping me with this. I appreciate it, guys. I try to do these live so the chat can give me some of their input, so we kind of make the list together. It's not just my opinions. I did change some of them based on what you guys thought, so I hope you guys consider this something that's mutual between both of us instead of just one-sided where I just decide. So with that said, thank you guys for watching, and catch you guys later.